It was just about 1 year ago that, I think all of us evaluated, the hire of Charlie Strong as a linebackers coach as like, "Wow, that is a tremendous hire," qualified as a head coach at places like Louisville and at Texas, of course, and defensive coordinator certainly would have been in the realm of possibility, but as a linebackers coach, yes. And we've got the wholesome one here, of course, on Canes Live on a Thursday night. But here we are after one season, wholesome one, and Charlie Strong took a slight, took some offense to being passed over as defensive coordinator.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. Some people thought that he would be the perfect slide in. Some people thought that, okay, since they're the co-DC and this other guy left for a promotion, let's not get it misconstrued. Being defensive coordinator at Alabama over being defensive coordinator at a Miami that is rebuilding is a promotion. Forget how your feelings feel about it. And you think that the co-guy with Florida ties, former head coach, former championship defensive coordinator in the same state would be the perfect option as defensive coordinator. But we decided to go in a different direction. And I don't really know how to feel about it, Mark, to be honest with you. There comes a point where you wonder how it could have just blown up. I mean, this staff on paper is one of the best staffs Miami has ever hired. And for it to just look like crap on the football field and nobody to have answers. That was the big thing we kept saying, Mark. With these hires of guys that have had national championship defenses, guys that have had really good defenses in the past, somebody will be able to have answers. Coach Hadai, hey, your conversation about what happened at Georgia, how did you guys address this issue in the secondary? No answers there. Charlie Strong is a co-DC, whether he was the defensive coordinator or the linebackers coach. Hey, Charlie, how did y'all handle this? Or Coach Strong, how did y'all handle this? And there were no answers. So now it feels as though we're going to get a lot of new, fresh faces on that side of the ball again. Now, is it tied into Coach Guidry wanting to bring in some of his guys and bring in guys that have helped him become who he was in his time at Marshall and his time at McNeese State and things of that nature, and really reach out and give some of those guys an opportunity here at Miami? Maybe. Or maybe it's just at face value that Charlie Strong felt some type of way about being passed over for a younger cat. And now he's going to follow Kevin Steele and just go be his linebackers coach for him at Alabama, a place where he was already a defensive analyst for the last couple of seasons.
So I don't blame or find any fault in either direction. Mario Cristobal is running a football program and has every right to hire whomever he believes is the best choice. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, Charlie Strong is historically more qualified than Lance Guidry to be the defensive coordinator. Again, I read off where he's been a head coach. And of course, he's been a top flight defensive coordinator at championship stops prior to that. Mm-hmm. But of course, Mario Cristobal is making an evaluation on 2022, 2023, not on 2012.
Right. Just like Mr. HD says, this isn't 2008 anymore. And in pre-conversation, Mark, I said Charlie Strong was somebody I would have wanted as a head coach. And your eyes got big. I had to clarify. I meant, coming off of his sure. times at Florida.
I would too.
I thought him to Miami would have been great in probably, 06 after Coach Coker. Him at Miami after Randy Shannon failed, and that would have been great. Maybe he could have built Louisville in Miami. Teddy Bridgewater, former Miami Hurricanes, commit, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, these things, it's tough. Now, the main thing you do is that it wasn't like he went out being disrespectful. It wasn't like he wasn't doing his job, because it seems as though Coach Cristobal is wanting to go a little younger, but usually what comes with youth, Mark? Energy. Someone that's fired up. You look at our coaches before, and the video of Coach Steele at Auburn wasn't the same guy that we got coaching the Miami Hurricanes defense. He was more stoic and calm and more trying to teach and explain things. And, hey, guys, we want to step here, and this is why we step here, and this is why we do that. And there's a time and place for that. And I will get to, because I know that Coach Guidry is an extremely big whiteboard Try erase board guy, big teacher, big classroom guy. That's his thing. But he's also a very fiery, tenacious competitor. I'm not trying to question Coach Strong or Coach Steele's competitiveness, but I really, really think that Coach Guidry's youth, his relatability, and more of a new school approach to how the game is being played defensively. At least I would love to see it work out for Miami. But just as an original early on synopsis, I look at it as this is why, because we want to get young and like Ryan Hill says, vibrant. You want to be able to get young, reliable, relatable, and maybe even, Mark, one of the other things, Mark, another thing that comes with young, you got something to prove. There's a chip on your shoulder. Somebody's saying you're too young for this job. You haven't proven it. You've coached a bunch of 2-stars. No one knows who you are. You don't deserve this job. There's something about that really pulls it out of people to go say, no, I'm gonna prove to you. You don't know me. You don't know anything about me. I'm here to prove what I can do at Miami. And that's one of the other things I love about Coach Guidry is he tweeted it out because somebody kept hyping up what he did at Marshall with the top 4 in every statistical category that mattered. And he just flat out said, that was at Marshall. It's time to do it at Miami. And we got to start and get to work. And that's big. Again, that's just talk. Again, that's just a tweet. But it shows the mindset of what Coach Guidry is wanting to bring to the table.
We, of course, invite your comments, your questions, your super chats, everything that you've got here to help support what we do here at the Voice of College Football each and every day on the Miami channel, but specifically here on a Thursday night with the Wholesome One.
Let's go, baby.
Falconer X, we appreciate you. Super sticker. Thank you so much for being here, Falconer X. You are here for us.
Falconer X, you might be paying my Wi-Fi bill, brother. Keep it up, man. Keep it up.
Tim, good to see you as well, supporting the Voice of College Football.
Mark, does Tim have a show by any chance?
So Tim co-hosts our USC post game.
Okay, I have to make sure I come in and support him. I had to ask because, and Tim, make sure you get up with me on Twitter, man. I would love to get in contact with you. And we gotta talk. You're always here supporting, and I noticed on my show, but you also support Cam, and that's big, man. We love every view and every like, except for the people in Tallahassee. They can eat crow. But we appreciate all the views and comments and likes, and you've been a great part of that. I met you too, but Tim, I always give you the good old. I want to see if I hop in on if you'll throw up the U one time for your boy on USC post gamer.
All views and statements are approved from the Wholesome One here at the Voice of College Football, excluding watch everything that we do on all the channels, folks. All right. But yeah, Tim does the post game for the USC show, and he also does a Pac-12 show for us, along with a few others, our guys Tony and Rick. So they do a great job.
Yeah, man, I would love to come and support, man. Mark, at one point, Mark, I was notification squad for every single channel you had. And then, of course, now it's gotten to the point where so many of my phone would just be ringing off the hook. I get in trouble with my lady friends, so I can't do that part. But,
who was that? It's the Voice of College Football.
Who was that texting you at 1:30 in the morning? It's just a notification for MarkRogersTV, SEC Live, baby.
Those notifications used to come really, really late at night when I had that other job because I was coming on here whenever I could. Falconer X, thank you so much for that. Miami is great when Miami develops players. Last season, development took a step back.
Great point. Great point. Now, one thing I will say, Falconer X, we have to be a little careful with that assumption, right? So development and production are on two different sides. What I explain to somebody, let's say, for example, as a teacher, you've gone over this problem so many times with a young man, a young lady, over and over and over. You've even had them walk up and write it out, right? And they get that test in front of them, and the pressure comes, and they get their problem wrong. And you know damn well you've even gone over that exact problem, and they still can't get it right. Now, finding a different way to get the answer and to help them, yes, that's on the teacher. Yes, that's on the coach. But there does come a time where you do have to look at it that some of our players may not have bought into the philosophies, may not have even agreed with their position coach on how they should do what they would like to do. Maybe they butted heads. So there's a little other context to that. Again, thank you for the comment. But I'm just saying, as far as my response to that, I think that's a little bit disingenuous to what these coaches go through throughout the week. And although we had a bad product on Saturdays, half a dozen times plus one, because we went 5-7, you don't really know what's going on week to week. And I know these coaches, a lot of them were working their behinds off, and it just didn't click. Again, that may sound like an excuse to some people. That may sound like I'm making excuses for some coaches who no longer have jobs, and some coaches who no longer aren't really clicking with our players. But it just didn't, whether it was from the previous staff, whether it was from where they came from, coaches, and they don't know how to really deliver the message. They talk at you, they scream, whatever. We kind of have to be careful with that, because yes, we didn't get the product, but we do not know if there wasn't a lot of development and coaching and teaching, strenuous teaching going in, and it just didn't work out on Saturdays. But thank you again.
For those people out there that are wondering, Lance Guidry will turn 52 years old this year, and Charlie Strong will turn 63. So if you buy into that, that's the difference.
Well, I guess what Palm Beach Kane is trying to say, because he said, isn't Coach Guidry 51 years old? Yes. 51 is not 33. 33 isn't 26. But I would like to see and say to that is, he's 51. He's worked at a lot of lower level ball, which means what, Mark? He ain't got some 6'3" Sauce Gardner running a 4-2 out there at corner. He's had some 5'8" guys. He's had some slow 6-footers. He's had a 5'10" defensive tackle that he had to coach up and really put in position to make plays. At the FCS level, at the Group of 5 level, and in levels under that, you really have to coach. You really have to teach. There used to be a lot of non-recruitment going on in high school football, Mark. You remember this because it was even probably 20 years ago. But for you, decades ago, when you played high school ball, right? And you had those coaches were so respected, even more than some college coaches, Mark. For generations, high school coaches were widely respected because they had to coach whomever walked through that door. Sometimes they were blessed to have a 6'3", 260-pound young man that he could turn into his left tackle. Back 6'3" was like left tackle in like 80s, 90s guys. Mark, tell me if I'm wrong now. There's some 6'4", 280-pound starting tackles that played at that time. It's how it was.
No absolutely.
You didn't have Evan Neal's 6'7", 383 pounds with sweet feet. Okay, you didn't see that back then, and those coaches had to coach him up. You had a 5'6" center sometimes, but he was feisty and he knew the technique, and he's a senior. But these are things as far as those coaches had to coach whomever, and this is where I think Coach Guidry comes from. He comes from a viewpoint of really coaching and teaching the craft and from a younger vantage point, and maybe making the game, Mark, simple, okay? Because he may not get too complex so that everybody could be on the same page. So that's where I am with it when it comes to Coach Guidry, man. I like the hire, Mark, mainly because it's not some big name dude. We tried that last year and it didn't work out. So how about let's get a guy that can come in. And another thing, Mark, his specialty is defensive back. And defensive back is the way in today's game, man. You got to be able to speak secondary. It's the new primary now. It used to be in the front seven where it was defensive end, defensive tackle, linebacker. Now it's more like edge rusher and secondary. That's where some of the best places are.
Bring those comments and questions, folks, and certainly consider supporting in every possible way. At least hit the like button. You can all do that, and get some other folks on here to talk Miami football with us. Sweet Lou has me searching for one Larry Fedora because I lost track of him. I didn't know what he was doing. He's the head coach in the USL for the New Orleans Breakers.
Hey, good for him, man. I know at one point he was the OC for Baylor a couple
Yes.
of years ago when they won the Big 12, right? Or was it the year before? Was it
He was
Coach
there the year
Aranda's
before,
first
and
year?
then he must have been out of coaching for 1 year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, hey, I like Coach Fedora. I liked his approach. I mean, he beat the Canes a bunch of times, beat our heads in with his spread at North Carolina. He was the OC there for a little bit, then got the head coaching job, and then things didn't work out. Coach Diaz actually wanted to bring him in, and he didn't really work out with the PR situation because of some comments he made, and they got out, and people got a little cold feet on him. So we could have had him at one point. And one thing I know, Mark, we don't know who the coaches are going to be. At this point, please just bring in some people that run some modern schemes. And because Coach Cristobal is going to do the recruiting. Bring some modern schemes to Miami, bring some true teachers to Miami, some relatability to Miami, and let them go, man. Because Coach Cristobal is going to do all the recruiting.
All the recruiting.
Yeah, man. He's like the primary recruiter.
Yeah.
Again, what? Mark, he was a primary recruiter for McLean. You know, he was a primary recruiter, of course, O-line, D-line. He's in on any big time prospect. Nicholas Harbor, who chose South Carolina, he was the primary recruiter for him. So, of course, now he's not going to be the primary for all 25. You get what I'm saying? But he'll definitely be the guy for. And the other thing, Mark, you run the right schemes, they'll recruit themselves, Mark. Your young men go out there and execute a spread. It's going to recruit itself. You know, so.
I would just have to think that recruiting is going to be on Mario Cristobal's mind for any of these coaches that he hires.
Okay. Here's my response to that. Josh Gaddis is known as one of the absolute worst recruiters in the country, and he hired him. Like, this dude sucks. And he hired him as the offensive coordinator. Coach Joe Salavea is actually a really good recruiter. Coach Mirabal is a good recruiter. Charlie Strong didn't want to do much of that at all. He was just not. Coach Kevin Steele was in it, you know, but no, it's not a fire in the pit of his gut. You get what I'm saying? As much as it is for the head coach.
Yeah, let me rephrase my point. I would think that between, let's say, a defensive line coach, linebackers, and however many safety or secondary coaches I was looking at Oregon's roster the other day. I think they have 3 secondary coaches. They've got a corners, a safeties, and a nickel back coach. Anyway, regardless of how many coaches you have on both sides of the ball, running back, wide receiver, offensive line / tight end, quarterbacks coach. So you get roughly 4 on each side of the ball, that you would not want a weak recruiter in every spot on one side of the ball.
Yeah. I mean, yes, you're right. Flat out, yes, you're correct. You don't want somebody that's just absolutely sucks at it. What I mean by when I say something like the scheme recruits itself. Brian Hartline is an amazing recruiter. One of the best developers also. But he has the benefit of being at Ohio State while they're running one of the best offenses in the country with one of the best offensive minds as the head coach / play caller. And then he just got promoted as the OC in name. So he wouldn't come to Miami to be the OC. Right? So the fact that people know quarterback and wide receiver at Ohio State are very productive. I'm a very productive player, 5-star. Probably want to go to Ohio State. Just like quarterbacks. No, Lincoln Riley's system. I want to go play in Southern Cal or when he was at Oklahoma and play for Coach Riley. So that's what I'm as far as the scheme itself can do a bunch of recruiting is maybe how I should phrase it as far as the way it can go.
Yeah, and it's a very team-oriented sport, and that obviously also moves into the coaching ranks in that if you're a great hitter in baseball, you're a great hitter, and you're affected like that much by anybody else in the lineup. They have no
Mhm.
effect on you whatsoever, except for a little bit. Some baseball fans are going to argue pitch selection and that sort of thing. But anyway, it's very little. Football, though, to your point, how much of it's Brian Hartline, how much of it is Ohio State, how much of it is scheme, how much of it is all these things.
Right.
Nick Saban, we know Nick Saban's an amazing recruiter, but how much more did he have to work at it 20 years ago? He was an amazing recruiter because he was an amazing recruiter. Now he's still an amazing recruiter, but he just has to show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
I mean, at that point, he gets off of the jet or the plane and then gets on the helicopter and lands on your practice field. All the players lose their mind because the best player is getting recruited by the GOAT. It's like he's here, he's already established, and he's coming to ask you to come and be a part of his team
yeah.
and let you know what he can do for you,
So at this
especially if
point,
you play in the secondary. Whew.
yeah, and so at this point, how much do you evaluate? Oh, Nick Saban just brought in a number one recruiting class because he's such an amazing recruiter. Well, yeah, I'm sure he still has those skills, but he doesn't have to work nearly as hard nor prove as much in
Right.
the recruiting cycle as just showing up and flashing rings.
Hmm. I mean, Mark, some recruit had screen recorded it and put it out there over COVID when they had the Zoom call. And
Oh,
one stat that
yeah,
was crazy. I don't know if you remember this.
yeah.
The man said he's had more linebackers drafted in the NFL draft than home losses. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
shout out to him, man. It's a Miami show, but shout out to him.
Talking to Rex. Always appreciated, man. Thank you for each and every one. Coach, to the talent and style of the players.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. You don't want to work against them. I felt like this previous season for the Miami Hurricanes, the offense was similar to the defense under Mark D'Onofrio. It had some nice spots, but it just didn't click with what we had done and what we had recruited to. And Coach Cristobal and his staff came in with the big chest and the bonehead, and we're here to save the U. Whatever you've done behind us absolutely sucks, or we wouldn't be here. And the players rebelled, and we ended up going 5-7. So it just didn't. It didn't click, Mark. It's hard to do this show sometimes, Mark, because I just sit there and I'm like, God, man, we come here weekly to talk about a 5-17. Good
Yeah.
God. Bi-weekly, because you and Cam were 24 hours before.
Yeah.
But Miami always is going to bring in ratings and a very relevant program and a name and things of that nature. Mainly because of the haters who live in Cleveland, Ohio, and Ohio, and North Florida, and
Haters in Ohio.
oh yeah, a lot
I
of
can't
haters.
imagine
Man.
there's anyone watching this from Ohio.
You never know. There's some Ohio
Well,
cans. Mark.
maybe there's some.
I run into some here.
Everybody in the chat, list what state you live in.
Yeah, let's put it to the test, y'all. And then when the video posts, I want y'all to put it in the comment section. Mostly Panhandle and Ohio. See?
If people are watching us from Ohio, that's basically because I've dragged them over from the main channel.
All
Because
right, we got
Ohio State and
Texas,
Michigan.
2 Texas, South Carolina,
Oh, here
Alabama,
we go. This is
2
good to
Alabama,
see.
Florida. Now you know you spelled that wrong, Kenneth. It's Florida. Andy, I'm from Miami, but lives in Pensacola,
Florida,
Georgia, Washington, Georgia. I don't know what
Washington.
850 is. South Carolina, Georgia, the SIP, Mississippi, Boca Raton. Mark, we should do this more often. Everybody name mama in the
This is
comment
fun.
section now.
Yeah,
I like this.
I like to see that.
West Palm.
850 is Florida,
Okay.
the Panhandle, up where you love it, right
For
there. Yeah,
Pennsylvania,
Tallahassee's
Columbus,
in
Georgia.
the 850.
Oh Lord, trash. Get out of there. You're in enemy territory. Get out of there.
No. You stay right here, Draskill. We love you.
No, not
Draskill 14.
leave. I'm saying get out of Tallahassee. Abort.
Oh, okay. Well, Liberty
there you go,
City,
stunner boy. Florida. That's how you spell it, Mark.
Pennsylvania. Okay.
When you're really from there, that's how you spell it. Florida.
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like seeing
Hey,
that.
nice to see all of y'all from all over, mostly in the central, southeastern area. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Make sure make sure y'all tell a friend, man. Tell a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And it's easy, man. You shoot the link or you make a post on Twitter and let people know, send it in the family group chat. Everybody got a cousin that's a Canes fan or a Canes hater. And they can come on and talk trash and we laugh at them. But that's a viewer. That's a viewer.
Yes.
And know thy opponent.
Absolutely.
Know thy
Preach
opponent.
So, someone is preaching what I like to hear. So I know this from through the years, latching onto all sorts of YouTube channels that I really got into for a few weeks or a few months or whatever it was, and didn't really appreciate what they were doing necessarily. To say, oh, I got to make sure I like it. I got to make sure I share this, tell people about it. But folks, we would love to be doing this year after year after year after year. So you guys have all the influence and all the control. More so, you take everybody that's in this chat. We got 131 people watching right now, and we'll probably have about 3,000 by the time we post this and it runs its course. And shoot, the wholesome one, I know he's got a lot of influence, and maybe I've got a little bit too, but you put all of you together, you guys reach people that have no idea who we are. And you could bring those people in. Absolutely.
Absolutely. One of the other big things, Mark, and I'll say this, this spot may not always be for H1H. There'll be someone else. And the biggest thing about media, right, is you get a chance to invest. And none of us, I didn't go to Miami, unfortunately. From there, I didn't go to University of Miami. But you see how the love and passion I have for it, somebody else has that too. And they just don't know about us yet. They don't know that we on here every week. They don't know I got a channel dedicated. They don't know that Cam runs a whole page to it. So do them a favor. Send it to them. Tweet it out. And let us really know. I mean, a lot of us ask for likes and comments and subscribe. And it sounds like just lingo that YouTubers use. But it helps us so much more than you know. Because that one like where you're from in Georgia would ping another person who's in the area from Georgia who likes some of the same videos that you do, and this will pop up for them. So you did somebody, a stranger, a favor by just hitting that like button and getting more and more eyes here. And if you love us and you love that then you want more and more people to be here. So, and it creates great conversation. It creates great comments back and forth. So we really appreciate it.
I could not have said it better. Falconer X. My most current Facebook ban ends tomorrow. Okay. Well, then the first post you make, Falconer X, your very first post back, put us out there.
Don't get kicked off again.
Palm Beach Kane's wife went to the U. Okay.
There you go. You married a smart woman. I was in Spain wearing the U cap. People were throwing that U up at me. Listen, I've walked the Mall of America, which is in Bloomington, Minnesota, not Minneapolis, Minnesota. Most people don't know that. Decked out. You know how I do. Decked out. Got my visor on, got my locks up in the bun, got my visor on, got my black polo with Miami, got my slacks on. And Mark, little kids threw it up at me. I said, wow, proud of you. Parents did a great job. Parents come around the corner. The dad got on Kane stuff, and the wife got on Gator stuff. Oh, I said, well, at least the child was saved. At least we saved the child. That's the future there. So it happens, man. And it's a beautiful thing. But like I said, the other thing is that behind, all the hate that happens, there was a lot of respect for our great players. And when you were spitting out so many to the NFL, especially in this area, you have some Canes who went on to play very, very good ball in the Northern Midwest. Not necessarily for the Vikings historically, but Chuck Foreman is a Cane.
That's right.
You also have for the Packers, you got Bubba Franks. You also have Sam Shields, but I don't know if he was like a well-known, big-time guy there. But you get these guys that go off to these NFL teams who are great players for the NFL team, of course, the Baltimore Ravens, New England Patriots. And sometimes that also results in people like, hey, man, they spitting out some great players. Devin Hester with the Chicago Bears. There's some people that like the Canes because of Hester, how great he did, who live in Chicago and are from Illinois. So, hey, as long as they're not Notre Dame people, we should be all right.
All right. He's put Notre Dame on the list behind Florida State.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Tallahassee.
Palm Beach Cane. Am I missing something here, Wholesome One? Do we need to talk about injury concerns going into spring practice?
I'm excited for the new season, but worried about the injury problems. I mean, not necessarily we did have a bunch of them, Mark, and I hope that person's okay. I don't know if you heard that. They slammed the door pretty hard. Good. Glad you didn't hear that. We had a bunch of them, Mark, and whether it's the shoulder injuries or maybe we're overworking the guys in the off season, but like a bunch of people were missing in camp and spring ball was really thin, and they put them through the rigmarole, Mark. I mean, Mark, Will Mallory hadn't practiced up until like Bethune-Cookman week. He missed all of spring. He missed all of training camp and was ready to go for the season due to a shoulder injury. Jafari Harvey, similar thing with that. Those are two that just stuck out to me. Injury-prone guys that happened all the way through their careers. So I get that Palm Beach has a real point for why they feel that way because, man, they put them through a bunch of real hard training and some bodies responded well and some kind of broke down. So I get that, man. And this is why you want to go so hard in your depth building, in your talent acquisition, and continuously recruiting, because, yes, you may go out, tweak hammy, shoulder, whatever. The guy behind you is just as good or maybe a little off, and maybe he's just younger. We could put him in and trust him to go out there and really get after it.
This is partial statement and partial question. Not that you're going to be able to really answer it because, number one, you're not a doctor. Number two, you're not close enough to the situation to know. But looking at Tyler Van Dyke and what was it, a rotator cuff, shoulder?
I thought it was his collarbone. The way he fell.
Yeah. So the way he just looked in agony near the end of the season. And, it'll be interesting. I don't know if anything's been said by Mario Cristobal. Probably not. He wants to keep as much of that information under wraps as possible. But to see whether they kind of lightly break him into spring practice or whether they shut him down and JJ McCarthy, Michigan starting quarterback, did not see the field the entire spring practice, and everything worked out for them. So I got to think they're going to be pretty cautious with that.
Yeah, I would think so too. But I mean, I've seen videos of him doing the training just like everybody else
Okay.
in the new. I don't know if it's still called winter or pre-spring workouts or whatever, but I've seen him out there doing the dive push-ups and the burpees and the running and the front flips and all that stuff. So he's ready to go health-wise. I will say this though, the biggest thing you want to do is not even about injuries. You want to hire the right offensive coordinator so that you can keep that guy. Okay, because he could easily hit the transfer portal, go to SMU and go back to the offensive coordinator that made him, that recruited him, and put him in a really good situation and work his way back into the first round conversation and be one of the top 6 quarterbacks in all of college football like last year preseason. But you want to bring in an offense where he feels comfortable, where he wants to be here, and we could protect him. I mean, you upgraded offensive tackle, 2 5-stars or 1 borderline 5-star. I call them both 5-stars with Pancake Honcho and with Francis Mauigoa. So you helped in that instance. But I mean, you got to do the right thing by these young men with schemes. You have to. You have to do the right thing by that too.
I'm not going to guarantee that TVD would win the job, but he's got a pretty good bit of experience after these 2 seasons, and he could possibly go to Columbus, Ohio, and throw to Marvin Harrison and Emeka Ibuka and a couple first-round draft selections up there. He wants to transfer somewhere. And again, I don't know if he's going to start.
No.
I think he would.
Listen,
I think he'd win the job.
Editor, I know you're going to crop this part. Do not crop this out and make that a video. Please, Mr. Editor person.
Oh, man, that might go viral.
Do not do that.
I should start spreading rumors. TVD considering Ohio State. That might be a good headline.
Please do not start that. Because then they go, oh, man, Wholesome thinks that Tyler's transferring. Whoa, did you hear him say he's going to Ohio? I didn't even say it. But my face is here, and they would attach me to it. Please, right. Mr. Editor person, do not crop that part out, please.
Appreciate you all being here at the Voice of College Football, 170 strong. Make sure you make it back next week and bring some friends with you. What's that?
That's a nice number, Mark. That's kind of high.
Yeah,
we were struggling the last couple of weeks
for the dead time of the year. Well, I think folks wanted to hear about Charlie Strong, and hopefully they just want to come back here every week and talk to us and hear from us. And Falcon Rex, I don't know if you ever want to, the way this transfer portal works, at some point. Falcon Rex. I always read the super chat, so we got to read all of them. No Kane will ever go to the Ohio State.
I don't think that's what that says. That's not what that says. That says no Kane will ever go to OSU. That's what that says.
Oregon State, Oklahoma State. Got it.
Right. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Yes,
should Falcon be Rex. 300 watching. You're right. Because if everybody brings one person, we'll be at 300.
One person. And you know what? Here's a tease for everyone. Reason you should be coming back week after week after week after week and bringing some friends with you is it's just about the time with spring practice starting in about 5 weeks that we're going to put the Wholesome One on the clock here to break down position by position pre-spring practice. Oh, I love that.
It on.
Dude,
I'm gonna have to go to my friend's house that has the stand-up whiteboard like we did last year and draw it all out position by position. Let's do it. I love it.
Falcon Rex, you're right. Everyone knows one person. Hey, and for those of you that want to bring 20, that would be phenomenal. So do you want to start with player position previews next week?
Let's do it.
You just let me know where you want to start, what positions, and we'll do 1 per week or 2 per week or whatever. 1 per week because you go in depth.
We should start offensive line. I think it's the biggest fix. I also think it's the most focus in some of the pictures we got of how the guys are looking and how they're really incorporating in. We have the most early enrollees at that position. Yes, offensive line in depth. offensive line breakdown. Every scholarship young man will be broken down by the H1H next week. What that is, Mark? The 17th?
That is, yes, the
The
17th.
16th.
The
The
16th.
16th. Next week, February 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time ish. Your boy, the H1H, will be here to break down the offensive line for the Miami Hurricanes and let you know where they're going to improve. And if God willing, they stay healthy, how Miami can have a way better offensive line. Probably not the best in the conference because it's no longer Coastal and Atlantic anymore. It's just ACC. But they can make improvements.
If I can keep that in my head that that's coming up next Thursday, then I'm going to blast that out like every day, make a reminder every day on Twitter that the Wholesome One's going to start because I love. Let me show you something. I was looking at thumbnails today since we're just having a kind of a random conversation here. I can't do it on this. Shoot, I can't do it on this laptop, unfortunately. Anyway, I was going to show you some nifty thumbnails that had the Canes prominently displayed from years ago that my son built. That I was like, man, I need to get back to building thumbnails that look that good because he did all the position previews for Miami that particular year. This was about 3 or 4 years when you were cranking out every position, and he built some really nice looking thumbnails.
There you go. There you go. One of the other things, just to let you all know, an update for me on the channel. So we have the NFL Combine that's coming up. You all know I speak NFL draft very fluently. So yes, it will always be based and started as a Miami Hurricanes channel, but we will be doing some NFL draft, specifically offensive and defensive line. I'm going to be going into positions where I think they're going to get picked at. So which spot they're going to get picked at, which team needs things of that nature on the offensive defensive line. We're going to have some film evaluation. I've already started to break down the Reese's Senior Bowl one-on-ones. So I'll be able to walk you through the kind of moves that they use, quick set, soft set, short step, hand placement, all that kind of stuff, really getting into my film breakdown because there's so much of that that's pushed out there. So I will be getting to some NFL draft, specifically offensive line and defensive line over the next 2 to 3 months in preparing for the NFL draft. We'll still keep the Thursday show for the Canes here, but saying that's what I'll be doing throughout the week.
The Combine is coming up February 28th.
Yeah.
Wow. It's coming.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know, the other thing is Miami used to have guys. I don't even know if we have a guy going this year. Do you have anybody going to the? Oh, Tyreek Stevenson. He's doing really well.
Okay.
Mark, he's even like late first round kind of conversations.
Really?
He's been doing. He had an amazing 6-day stretch of practice with the Reese's Senior Bowl there. And again, I don't know much about as far as defensive back transitioning to the NFL. But whatever they've seen in him then and whatever they're doing in the interview process, he's knocking it out of the park. Great job by him. Great job.
Falconer X. Mark, can you just admit Miami won the 2002 Natty? All right.
Yeah, Miami did win the 2002 Natty against Nebraska.
You stole my line. You stole my line. Well, they won the Rose Bowl in 2002 to win the national championship. Yes, they did. They absolutely did.
Because we're not going. I'm not going down this road. Today is a good day. God woke me up this morning. I have a great positive spirit about me, and I don't want to get into how much I really can't stand, Ohio. I really don't want to do that. Ooh, somebody used the K word.
It's a great state. What did I miss?
That was a good comeback because I was taking a slight at, should be not saying the state part of Ohio State, just calling you Ohio.
Oh, I know.
And you're like, oh, it's a great state. So that's why it's a great state.
It's home. What
You
can I
got
say?
me. That was good. That was good. You got me. These young men need to learn about consequences.
Yeah, I don't know why
Oh,
I clicked on that. What where are we headed there?
yeah. I don't even want to get into that
Okay.
because it's a young man. Oh yeah, we're not getting into that. We'll just leave that alone.
Yeah, boys, all I can tell you out there, guys, is that if you're fighting over a woman with another guy, she needs to make the decision. So, you know, yeah, if she wants you, she wants you. If she doesn't, let her go.
Yeah, I was about to say you have to make that decision. Oh, it's me or him. I'm out.
Hmm.
I say, yo, what's your sister's number again? That's how you handle that.
All right, all right, all right. Canes
Mark,
live
who you got in the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl. I have not. Now,
Do you know who's playing in the Super Bowl, Mark?
yeah, I know who's playing in the Super
Okay.
Bowl. Come
Okay.
on. I'm the guy that for many shows was wowing you with my NFL knowledge.
True, true. Yeah, I was
Okay,
very, very,
I
very
do have
impressed.
trouble keeping up with what's going on now. I don't like read anything. I don't keep up with it. I just throw the games on Sunday. So I don't really keep up with the personnel like I did years ago. But I will say that you're the first person that I'm contacting when I start our NFL channel. But Eagles, Chiefs. I think the Eagles are top to bottom a better team, tougher, more physical team. I think they'll win.
I do too. I do too. I'm not a betting man, but I think the Eagles are favorite 2.5. I'm taking
Yeah.
over on that easily.
Mm,
I would say I would push it to like 8.5. I think they're a touchdown and a field goal better.
okay.
I would say 9 to 10, somewhere in there better than the Chiefs. Again, offensive line, defensive line. They have the best offensive line in football. I mean, people movers, pass protectors, communicators. Uh, Kelsey is one of my favorite players. Very patterned my game after him as a senior, as a center in high school. Really liked his play. Um, how y'all let those two guys not go to Ohio State, Mark? The Kelsey brothers. Like, how does this happen?
What are you asking me for? I know they both went to Cincinnati. Does that even mean they're from Ohio? I don't even know
Yeah,
that.
they're Ohio boys.
Are they? I don't know. That was a big miss. That was a big miss by everybody because it's not like they were.
Well, they probably were developer guys. I mean, now Travis was big time,
Yeah,
but again, he was
Cincinnati
a receiver,
Heights.
tight end.
Okay, Cincinnati Heights. So they were local guys.
Yep.
So yeah, they weren't two-star recruit Travis Kelsey. Yeah, so they the talent
Fucking
evaluators
RX. This
didn't.
dude's crazy, Mark. And I said, what's the over under on the length of the national anthem?
Yeah, I don't know what the that's a big betting line in Vegas. All right. All right, we've done enough damage. We could go on with this kind of silliness all night. I'm going to do a live show here in just a few minutes over on the main channel. There is good reason to believe that SMU is moving to the Pac-12
And San Diego State,
and San Diego State. But
which would have an opening in a certain conference.
who would have an opening? The American Conference? What are you talking about?
The Mountain West,
Mountain West. Yeah, sure.
which could result in a certain, a program moving up. I don't
Oh, I
know.
got you. I'm with you. All
We'll
right.
see.
For the wholesome one, we will see you next Thursday, man. Appreciate you doing this. He makes it all happen here. And again, we double the crowd next week because of all of you. So thank you so much. And again, Falcon Rex, thank you so much for sponsoring the show, basically. Chiefs wear eagle feathers on their heads. Okay.
Oh, yeah, true. That's a good point. Okay.
All
All
right.
right. See y'all next week, breaking down offensive line for the Miami Hurricanes.